I'm Anna with Cryptic Kentucky, and this is my friend Michelle.
Hello.
Tonight, I'm going to have Michelle do an interview about something that she experienced, and it is a story that has stayed with me because of particular details of what happened to her, and I am going to let her take it from here.
Well, one night in July back in 2021, I decided to go on a road trip to visit my mother in Florida, and I decided I'd take an excursion on the way and stopped at Springer Mountain in the northern part of Georgia because I wanted to get on the Appalachian Trail. I just love to hike and be in nature, and I think that might have even been the first time I've ever car camped. I know it was by myself for sure. But anyway, I arrived at Springer Mountain. It was about 6 p.m. on, I want to say, a Thursday night. It was a weeknight. I believe it was a Thursday night. And I drove 7 miles up this mountain, and just so happened my Jeep overheated. But that's kind of normal, you know, to run a transmission 7 miles up a mountain. It just was a little hard on it, but it was fine after it cooled off. So I went and found a place to pull over and do my car camp. And for some odd reason, at 6:30 in the evening on this July night, it was sort of like, it was misty, rainy, foggy, because, you know, I was 7 miles up a mountain, so I was kind of like in the mist.
Yeah.
So it was very kind of dark and eerie and just misty and creepy, quite frankly. And at this time, I didn't believe in any kind of Bigfoot. I just thought that was all just, you know, fairy tale stuff until, you know, I saw actual evidence later down the road. But I didn't, you know, care about anything paranormal, Bigfoot, anything like that. I was just there to enjoy nature and do some camping and enjoy my little excursion on my way to Florida.
Yeah.
And get on the Appalachian Trail was the main reason. So I get there, I find a spot, and I get out and just start walking around the vehicle, just checking out everything. You know, I already saw an owl on the way in that was sitting up in a tree staring at me.
I remember you talking about that
a little bit, and I got a good picture of him sitting there. So after that, I pulled in the spot and everything and got out and walked around the vehicle, and all of a sudden hear this huge metallic noise, like say a dumpster being dropped hundreds of feet onto some concrete. That's how loud it was. And I'm 7 miles up a mountain, and I know I shouldn't be hearing anything like that. And it was just this huge big metallic slam. So, and I'm immediately, you know, WTF? You know, what was that? And I'm looking around, you know, and it just really stuck with me because it was so odd and out of place and unexplainable where I was, and I hadn't seen another soul this whole time I'm up there.
Yeah.
There were a couple of cars up in the parking lot, but they were hikers that were long gone somewhere, campers or whatever. Nobody was around. And so that night I decided to just stay in the car. And at first I went ahead and I put my backpack on because it was only like 6:30 in July. You still have some daylight, even though it really wasn't daylight. I got on the Appalachian Trail, which was maybe 100 yards from where I was parked, the actual trail. So I went up there, I got on it, and I hiked a quarter mile maybe, and I was just creeped out, like something was watching me. I felt very uncomfortable, very unsafe, like just like a feeling of doom.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and here I'm just trying to enjoy nature. I'm just excited. Hey, I'm on the AT.
Yeah.
I'm going to go try to hike to the terminus where people get on it. That's what I was wanting to do. I was a mile away from it. I just couldn't make myself do it.
Yeah.
And the weather being like that, you know, it kind of contributed to it. So I just went back to the car and ate my dinner inside the car. And every time I had to get out of the car to use the bathroom, I was like real vigilant and, you know, just shining my light to make sure. I just felt like there were creatures around me.
And that was even before you ever thought of anything.
Thought about Bigfoot. That was not entering my mind whatsoever. Nothing paranormal, because I didn't believe in that kind of stuff back then, because I'd never really seen anything, you know, to validate it.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I got to talking to you not too long after that.
Yeah.
And you kind of got me interested. And then every time I went out in the woods, I went seeking it and I found it,
Yeah.
you know, eventually.
Yeah, you
So.
did. You sure did.
It's the Springer Mountain story, and I'm dying to go back.
Well, that is the experience that Michelle had, and she's had many others as well, and we've had experiences together too.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, she told me that story as we were riding together down to Land Between the Lakes so that we could go attend the Dogman Conference in Paris, Tennessee in 2022. And she had told me about that on the way down, and it just stood out to me what had happened to her. And then when we were at the conference, and Martin Groves told his story, and he talked about the metallic sound in the woods. And I can remember just stopping and turning.
We looked at each other and we knew.
Yes. So it was that story of hers with that metallic sound has just always been one of the experiences.
Which I'm glad there's
had.
an explanation for it now. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. It is. It's very interesting. So if you haven't yet, go to Talesfromthenarcside. She has great videos there. She does a lot of looking into the abandoned, and she does really good videos on those. Really interesting places that she finds. So check her out on Tales from the Narc Side.
All right, I appreciate it.
Well, you're welcome.